Hey, I'm WVTM 13 Chief Meteorologist Jason Simpson. Sky was very summer-like around the state of Alabama today, and we had quite a few thunderstorms to go along with that. Some of them were pretty heavy, too, producing some small hail over both Alabama and Mississippi. This is the satellite and radar together around 9:30 p.m., and I want to show you a few things that are happening, not just in Alabama and Mississippi, but all around the eastern part of the country. First of all, it's obvious we've got some thunderstorms still ongoing in West Alabama, where it has rained more there today than it has in weeks in many communities. There was some hail over around Eupora, Mississippi with some of those storms earlier. Several severe thunderstorms over in Mississippi. Not a lot of severe weather in Alabama this go around like we had on Sunday. But you notice that the storms are moving this direction. But if you look carefully, you can see how the high-level clouds are moving back toward the right or toward the east in that animation. Then look up to the north, and before the sun set, it was really, really easy to see this. Now it's not quite as easy, so I'm going to bump this and see if we can get the last 6 hours worth of data in here, and we can. So what you see right here over the Ohio Valley, see that right there in Ohio and in Pennsylvania, where you just see that gray color, that low gray color. And I'm going to scroll it back just a little bit farther. You can see southern Ohio into West Virginia, Pennsylvania. Those are not clouds. That is wildfire smoke. Then you've got this high, thin band of cirrus clouds that are coming down over Kentucky. So watch what's going on here. That is all trying to spread down toward the south. So the upper level winds are coming in like this around a big area of low pressure close to the east coast. But here over North Alabama and Central Alabama, they're turned more like this. So we're somewhat protected from the smoke at this moment. This is what it looked like using the CSEP geosphere imagery, which is a really cool site. And I can link you to it. In fact, I'll do that in the comments. This is a really, really cool satellite site because you can just see so much more detail here than you can with just about anything else because you can zoom in. But there's obviously some smoke here. You can see the haziness over the Great Lakes, Ohio, Pennsylvania. And then look here, there's another band of it over Missouri and Kentucky. Well, guess where there was no rain today? In this zone right here, give or take a few miles, and in this zone right here. That smoky, hazy stuff that's coming from Quebec, where there are some intense wildfires just putting up smoke all over the place. New England just socked in right now. If you were in Alabama back in 2007 when the Bugaboo Swamp Fire was going on in Georgia, you know exactly what these folks are going through up to the north. The smoke is just intolerable. So what you had here was dry, and you had another patch of dry. Well, I think this patch of dry right here is going to try to settle into Tennessee tomorrow, maybe not really covering much of Alabama. In fact, watch this. We can put this in motion using some of the nighttime imagery. And while it's not obvious that the nighttime microphysics like this has a great smoke signal, there's not a lot of research on that I've been able to find, but you can clearly tell right here, this area lines up pretty well with where the worst of that haze was. And then you can see these spots right here, which are more along the lines of ice crystals, the bright yellow spots. So this would be thin clouds, or in this case, it's probably smoke. These would be very thick, high-level clouds made of ice. The same kinds of clouds that, by the way, you see flowing off of the storms in Mississippi into Alabama. So remember, those were blowing this direction. This was blowing this direction. And then if you look carefully right over here, you can see where that low is that's kind of driving everything. So you got the low here, you got the circulation around it doing that, and then across Alabama, we're somewhat protected because the winds aloft are coming in from the west. Well, we'll see how long that's going to last because if you look at the smoke, remember that band over Kentucky and Missouri? Well, it should end up over Tennessee tomorrow and then into North Alabama, I think around Huntsville, Decatur, the Shoals, Sand Mountain, Lookout Mountain. It may be very, very hazy on Wednesday, and that's probably going to shut down most of the storms. Then you get up toward Nashville, Cookeville, Chattanooga, Athens, Tennessee, into the Carolinas. This is thunderstorm shutdown territory right here. It just closes the door. And then look at here, Buffalo, New York. Gracious, that is some extremely thick smoke on Wednesday. And then for central Alabama, South Alabama, a little hazy, but not extreme. Certainly not extreme. Something else that happens with this, of course, remember I said the smoke helps to make it a little bit drier. Precipitable water. From Birmingham south to Montgomery, all the way down to the Gulf Coast, lots of thunderstorms in this zone on Wednesday. This is your thunderstorm zone Wednesday. It is dry up here around Huntsville to Atlanta and over toward Tupelo. Then come Thursday. This could get fairly interesting on Thursday. This band of higher precipitable water actually sort of gets set up along a stationary boundary. And that stationary front is, in fact, I'll just draw it in for you here. The stationary front would be somewhere in this zone right about here on Thursday. So we've got a surface front that is somewhere between Columbus and Birmingham, Montgomery, Clanton, Alexander City. So somewhere in this zone, give or take a little bit, maybe a little bit to the north, a little bit to the south. It's impossible to know 2 days out exactly how far that would be. But somewhere along in there, we're likely to find a cluster of thunderstorms over in Mississippi that rides that boundary down to the south. So what happens here? Do we get intense thunderstorms in this area, or is it a little bit farther north and we end up with some heavier thunderstorms that roll right through Birmingham? Huge difference in the weather, very, very small difference to the atmosphere. So that's kind of where we stand on that. Then on Friday, the drier air's coming in, and remember those wildfires, they're up here around Quebec. So all that smoke is probably going to end up down here across the south somewhere going into Friday and Saturday. But we will be drier by that point. I don't think we have any significant rain or storms to go at that point. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you can see the rain chances. This is specific to central Alabama. We'll call this about 40%, about 20%, and then back up to about 40%. All that means is I've got good confidence we're going to have thunderstorms in the area on Tuesday. I don't have great confidence that it rains at your house. Wednesday, low confidence of rain, low confidence it hits you. Medium confidence and medium confidence on Thursday. We'll probably have more storms, especially over West Alabama Thursday. And then Friday, we not having rain on Friday. Here's the futurecast around central Alabama. We'll focus here 6 a.m. Tuesday. And you notice the Huntsville-Decatur area is underneath the banner. I'm going to move here in just a sec so you can see that. But midday Tuesday, not much. From about 12 to 1 p.m., we're going to start to see storms pop up here and there. There may not be quite as many of them on Tuesday over West Alabama as we had on Monday, but you kind of get the idea here. They're few and far between. Temperatures in the upper 80s to lower 90s. Isolated storms will continue through 5 o'clock, and they may end up being a bit more concentrated up here, Limestone, Madison, Jackson, and then maybe parts of Jefferson, St. Clair, and Shelby. A few miles here and there, not going to make a whole lot of difference. Going into the weekend, it still looks hot. We'll be dry on Saturday. Scattered storms return on Sunday. And with that in mind, here's the 7-day forecast. So scattered storms on Tuesday. Yes, they are going to be more numerous Tuesday than they will be on Wednesday. I think our best chance of rain in central Alabama is basically from near 278 southward down to about Highway 80. It's going to vary from place to place, and yeah, there's still a room for a thunderstorm or two up toward the Huntsville area. Wednesday, fewer storms. Thursday, they're back, a little more numerous. Friday, that front comes in, and these numbers early Friday morning look pretty good. Remember, that front is going to be right about in, let's say, Friday morning. The front should be all the way down here by that point, and that is going to make sure that things look pretty comfortable in the 50s, especially across northeast Alabama Friday afternoon. Saturday is fairly dry, but it's still warm. Dry air heats and cools really efficiently. And then you look toward Sunday, Monday, and we may have some trouble out here in this zone. This may end up being some impact weather for us, so we'll keep an eye on Sunday and Monday.